Thank you, Roberto, and thank you all of you for coming so numerous. In fact, we had to open the second part of the room because we did not expect all these people today, and we are quite impressed by the attendance here. So let me try to explain the reason why we thought about this initiative. There are, as you've heard from the previous speakers, clear indications that the Mediterranean area, in particular the southern Mediterranean countries, have a lot to say in terms of deployment and development of renewable energies. We have seen that demand growth is really growing at rates that are not to be found on the northern side of the same sea. We have two drivers. One is a clear demographic force. Demographic increase and population is multiplying in the southern Mediterranean shore, and also clearly growth in economy is adding demand. So the projection from OME are in the range of 180 to 100,000 megawatts of additional capacity to be added in just these countries. And this is something that has to do with about 320 billions of euros of investment. We're not talking about only renewables, but in general generation to cope with this additional demand. We have so good growth in electrical demand, extremely large potential for solar and wind resources, good availability of land. This is clearly something that we don't have in this part of the sea. And definitely there are some priorities. We see priority in the development of an industrial infrastructure in the area. This is something that cannot be avoided and we should encourage. And there is also a presence in this transient of old schemes that incentivize directly or indirectly fossil fuels. An indirect subsidy could be, for example, an artificially low electrical subsidy on a system that uses oil as a way to generate electricity. This is an indirect subsidy. But we have also direct subsidies on the use of fossil fuels. And this is distorting a little bit the market in this region. Increasingly, these governments are understanding that this is a problem. And we have seen, this is just a compilation of the plans to grow renewables that these different governments have set forward. They're not fully comparable because the time frames are different. Some time frames go to 2020, others to 2030. So, but this just gives you an idea of the dimension of projected growth that each single government on its own has in the past tried to address. The green part is the future, the blue part is what is existing, and you see that it's basically everything needs to be done according to the projections of these single governments. Algeria, Turkey, Egypt, Syria, Morocco, Israel, Libya, Jordan, and Tunisia were the ones that we were able to compile based on the data that OME has estimated in 2011. So, good potential for growth, a lot of resources. The plans of the governments seem to be quite ambitious. What happens? We have a lot of barriers that has to do with market dimension. There is an information gap. Decision makers are basically not fully aware of what needs to be there in order to incentivize investments. There are subsidies that, as I said, create distortion. So far, there has been very little technology transfer and very little capacity building. Not enough efforts have been put into training the cadres, the whole organization that needs to address this change. There are, as we've heard, difficulties on the regulatory and the legal frameworks that need to be a little bit changed and addressed. Finally, financial issues, not surprisingly, come out. It's difficult to invest in countries that lack some of these dimensions, and we have also a lot of difficulties on grid infrastructure and access to connecting means. So we should work on this barriers and try to address many of them. How to do this? This is really a big effort, and we think it cannot be done just going into these countries and going around preaching that we have solutions for everyone. It's not the way we think we can progress in a let's say, large scale and in an effective way. I think there is a lot of work to be done, and what we have seen is that we have already a lot of people working around these issues. This is a compilation, and I already apologize for certainly somebody that could be forgotten or some information that might be not correct. But we have a lot of initiatives at work on these large themes with some variations. OME is the oldest of these organizations, 33 members, if we count them all right, and it was founded in 1991. Then we have MEDREG on the regulatory framework supporting scheme. This covers electricity and gas, 24 members, 2007 is the year of foundation. The Mediterranean Solar Plan works, as we have said, basically on solar. The goal is to deploy 20,000 megawatts in 2020. This was formed in 2008. We have 43 members here. Desert Tech Industrial Initiative addresses a broader scope, covers also interconnection, more than one technology, although for some people this has been associated with solar a lot, but it's a lot of other things. We have 56 members, so it's the largest in terms of memberships, and it's also in 2008. Then we have MedGrid, covers the grid networks. It covers the issue of access, 20 members, 2010. And then we have Paving the Way of the Mediterranean Solar Plan, covers all renewable energy, although the solar world is still there. We have 5 members, 2010, and then MEDTSO, as we've heard today, is the founding of MEDTSO also in Rome. This covers transmissions in the Mediterranean, 16 members, 2012. So all in all, we have a lot of people around studying this difficult theme of addressing the Mediterranean energy demands, and we have a lot of old and recent activities that we can use and we can work on. Maybe 2007 and 2008 seem to us close in terms of time, but if you consider what has happened after 2009, it's already another era. Looking back, what we have thought about deploying renewables in 2007, 2008, and what has happened in the same region today is a completely different scenario. So there is a lot of work to be done here, and we try to address it in a single way. We try to basically present a service to all of us and to everyone that is trying to combine in this big mission. We try to develop a meeting point, an organized meeting point, where we can assemble all the studies done, the old, the new, those that are more recent, those that come from the past. We try to make them available to all the associations, to all the members of the associations with their agreement in an innovative and intelligent way. So to create an intelligent way of sharing information, to create an area where we can compare ideas, share ideas, exchange and discuss different point of views, contrasting sometimes point of view, to network the various experience that we all have done in our own past in the area, to become also a platform in which we can invite capacity members, so people that come from the bureaucratic organizations, from the technical organization, from the administrative organization of the other countries in the Mediterranean, and give them the opportunity to train and to understand some new technologies or different regulatory formats and different ways of doing things. And definitely at the end of this, also do studies and analysis on areas that are not addressed by anyone else. This is in a nutshell what we try to achieve in RES4MED. We try to give a service to all those that are already working in this important task. We have these members, we have mentioned them before. We have the institutional support which we have required from the ministries that have to do with our mission, and we are open to other international stakeholders. We try to enlarge this organization to other members. This is a small profile of the present members of the organization. We, as ENEL Green Power, are also participating in different initiatives. So this is the reason why also we try to assemble in one single point different experiences, and we think this is a need that is a little bit shared. Talking to some of my colleagues, it seems to be a need at the moment. We created an advisory board in which we are inviting the leaders of all the ongoing initiatives to sit and discuss with us the program that we would like all together to put in front of this huge task. We have an operational office in Milan hosted by PricewaterhouseCoopers. We have a registered office in Rome, a steering committee in which the members of the founding partners are sitting to define the work packages, and of course a general secretary, which is the super efficient Mr. Vigotti, and working groups that will help us address all the needs of our organization. The basic steps that we have to carry out today are to identify all the current initiatives in detail and try to understand how to organize and to render and to make available to each and any of the members of the different organizations the work that is going on. We think this will become a boost in the efficiency and also in the impacts of all these initiatives around the area. Following this, we will identify some specific areas in which we will focus particular efforts ourselves, or perhaps with the help of all the organizations that today are working, which we think have a huge momentum that needs to be exploited. So the first step in our action is the dialogue with ongoing initiatives and the creation of the advisory board, which really is the core of this RES4MED initiative. Then, as I said, we will try to address the participation of additional countries in the South Mediterranean and the Balkans and the Eastern Mediterranean portion. And then we will identify particular areas where RES4MED can, if it is needed, carry out specific initiatives. We will present our point of view in other opportunities. We have the next conference in 23rd of May in Casablanca. We will organize high-level meetings. We already have an appointment with the International Energy Agency on the 5th of October in Rome to discuss critical factors that will impact our work. In a nutshell, this is what we try to achieve with RES4MED. So not another parallel initiative, but an attempt at creating a critical mass all together and try to organize our work to be ready for when these countries in the Mediterranean will call us. We need to be ready by then. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Fulton.